With their recent beta launch of Beams and the ability to run agentic workflows inside of these ephemeral runtimes, I've started using an open source minimalist agent harness called Pi. Now, most of us are using Claude Code or Codex, and they're great, but they come with a lot of features, opinions, menus, all of these built-in ways of doing things that sometimes just get in your way. Well, what if you could strip all of that out and then add back or create from scratch exactly what you want, nothing more? Well, that's Pi. And you may have heard of it. It's actually the harness powering OpenClaw, and it's an agentic coding tool that adapts to you instead of the other way around. In this video, I want to take a look at Pi, what it is, its features, how to get your own customized setup running, and why it works so well with isolated agentic environments like Beams. But before we kick this off and get it installed, we need to talk about one important thing. Pi runs full permissions by default. No pop-ups, confirmations, no safety rails, and that's intentional. We all hate babysitting an agent by having to approve pop-ups. It's an agent, let it do its work. But the risk is real, so you'll want some kind of boundary. And you've got 3 ways to set this up. Option 1, you can add the guardrails yourself, exactly how you like them. Pi ships with no permission system, so the safety rules aren't somebody else's defaults baked in, they're yours to define. You install Pi right on your machine, and whatever rails fit how you work. And I'm going to show you how to do that a little later in the video, so if this is for you, just follow along with the normal installation. Option 2 is to route Pi's tools into a sandbox. This is the first of 2 approaches Pi's own docs recommend for stronger isolation. Pi runs on your machine, but its built-in tools get routed into a local micro VM. The example extension they offer is Gondolin, which spins up a lightweight VM, mounts your project inside of it, and runs every file and shell operation in the VM instead of on your host. So Pi and your credentials stay put, and the actual work happens behind a wall. And then option 3 is to run the whole Pi process inside of an isolated environment. This is the strongest pattern, and Pi's docs show a couple of ways to do this, including Docker and OpenShell. So you can Docker build a Pi sandbox, and using this run command here, you can run it mounting your workspace as a volume. I'm going to use that same pattern, but instead of Docker, I'm going to run Pi inside of a teleport beam. A beam is a disposable, isolated runtime for AI agents. So Pi can run with full permissions inside the beam, but the blast radius is contained to a short-lived environment with its own identity, RBAC, and audit trail. And that matters because I can let the agent work against real infrastructure, databases, servers, Kubernetes clusters, Git repos, proxy through teleport, without handing it long-lived keys or giving it broad access to my laptop. For example, this beam has read-only access to a Postgres database through teleport. I can ask Pi to go and query racks over 85% power capacity, and it works. Here's the results. But if I ask it to truncate the table, RBAC blocks it. And this is where the teleport side becomes really important. I'm not just trusting that the agent behaved, I can actually go back and see what happened. Here's the audit trail showing the exact database queries the agent ran, and here's a session recording of the work that happened inside the beam for compliance purposes. So the model here is Pi gets to stay fast and permissionless, while the beam gives me identity, isolation, RBAC, auditability, and a disposable runtime around it. And if you want to try out Beams for yourself, you can start a 14-day free trial at beams.run. I'll put a link below to that as well. So I'm going to create a new beam with the tsh beams add command. And here I have a fresh beam to work with. And you can install Pi with this one-liner found at pi.dev. And while that's installing, here are some helpful facts about Pi. First, it only comes with 4 core tools: read, write, edit, and bash. That's it. Everything else is built on top of those. Second, Pi's system prompt and tool definitions come in at around 1,000 tokens. Other solutions burn 5,000 to 15,000 tokens before you've typed anything. Third, and we've touched on this already, by default and by design, there's no MCP, no sub-agents, no plan mode, no to-dos, and no permission pop-ups. And we'll see how we can add these if needed here in a bit. Next, there's 4 operating modes. There's an interactive TUI for the human workflow. There's the printed return, kind of like how you run Claude-P. You can run a pi-p and then the query for scripts, CI/CD, or a makefile. There's an RPC operating mode, and then there's an SDK, where you can embed Pi inside your own apps. And last fact, Pi is self-modifying, meaning Pi can read its own docs, and when you need a new command or a tool, workflow, whatever, just ask Pi to build it, and it will customize itself. Then you can hot reload it with /reload, and keep moving. Other solutions remind you that changes won't take effect until your next session, so you have to completely exit. But with Pi, again, you can simply run reload. Okay, once your install is done, restart your shell, or you can run a source bash rc or zshrc, whatever your command line flavor is, and then run pi to start. And here we have a bare bones terminal coding harness to work with your favorite LLM. Now you'll need to run /login and select a provider, or you'll need to add an API key via a variable or the auth.json file in the agent folder. You can also choose from a list of models with the /model command, which is another benefit of Pi over a fixed harness like OpenAI or Anthropic. Now in my scenario with Beams, you don't manage any API keys at all. The inference connection is already there. Every beam ships with the provider endpoints preset as environment variables for both OpenAI and Anthropic, as we can see here. And here's the interesting part. Those API keys, they're just placeholders. The teleport beam LLM proxy injects them at the network layer on the way out to the provider. So the real credential stays outside the beam entirely, and every request still gets authed and audited on the way through, all utilizing the same proven teleport controls you already rely on. But since I'm installing Pi, I'll need to tell it where to send those requests by adding them to my Pi's model.json file. So let me get those variables from my environment, and then drop that into .py/agent/models.json. And we're all set. From here, you have a starting point with Pi where you could take the things you like about Claude and Codex and add them as needed. And since Pi has access to Pi's docs and examples, you can literally get Pi to build on top of itself for you. So let's try that out. I'm going to ask Pi to add some branding. So I'll ask it to add some branding to this Pi terminal by adding an ASCII version of the teleport logo that I put together here in the teleport purple branding color, and it should appear anytime we open Pi. And there should be a / command to turn it off and another to turn it on. And you'll see it's going to read its own docs about extensions. It finds a custom header example extension that it ships with, and it creates the extension with the / command for me to toggle it on and off. And it can manipulate itself in place. I just need to hit /reload. And let's try it. I'll run my new / command to toggle it on, and when I open Pi again, I can see my custom teleport header. Now, if you open the file that Pi actually wrote, you can see it followed the example almost line for line. It registers the / commands, and it hooks Pi's session start event to paint the logo on startup. The exact pattern the custom header example demonstrates. So Pi can lean on its own bundled examples to figure out how to customize itself. And while we're at it, let's talk extensions for a second. So Pi's extensions are just TypeScript modules that extend what Pi can do. They hook into lifecycle events, they can register tools the model can call, prompt you for input, add / commands, things like that. The possibilities are endless, which means Pi is really a starting point. The question is, what do you want your coding harness to actually do? If we jump over to the docs, there's an extensions guide and an examples reference with dozens of ready-made extensions to choose from. So let's revisit this idea of permissions for those who want to run Pi normally. There's a permission gate example sitting right in the reference, so I'll just ask Pi to build me one from it, but tuned to the commands I actually care about. Create a permission gate based on your example, but on top of the usual rmrf, sudo, and chmod 777. Also, stop and confirm before anything pipes a download straight into a shell, before a git force push, and before formatting a file system. Just some other protections to add here. And it's done, so let's reload, and now when running something like chmod 777, which is in our permissions list, it should now prompt us. But of course, I don't need this extension because I'm in a beam, and I want the agent to act freely in it. But it is an option for you if you need it. Now you can take this further, and you can check out Pi's package catalog that includes, among other things, community-created extensions, prompts, skills, and themes of all flavors. For example, Claude Code has a feature where it comes back to you with follow-up questions, and you can tab through them to give it more precise context around what you're building. Well, here's an extension to add this feature to Pi. And for items in this package directory, you can install with the pi install command. So let's install this one with pi install npm and the rest of this command here. We can also try this random theme out with the pi install command also. That's pretty neat. And of course, we don't need this catalog or examples. We can have Pi create whatever else we can think up from prompts, extensions, theming, and skills. So these are ways you can begin to introduce features and extensions that you need as you need them from the community, or having Pi extend itself and customize itself. Now, another unique feature of Pi is session trees. Every conversation you have with Pi is saved as a JSON-L file or JSON lines file, but it's not a flat log, it's a tree. Each message has an ID and a parent ID, so when you branch off and try something different in your conversation, both paths live in the same file, and you can back up and take different paths at any time. For example, I'm in a discussion here with Claude to build a dashboard for Beams, and we're discussing architecture and what tech to use, and I chose something fully featured like Next.js and put together a plan. But then I decide, hey, this could be done with something simpler, like just HTML, JavaScript, and a little simple Express backend. I want to explore that route, but I don't want to lose my context here in case I do want to move forward with Next.js in the end. Well, I can do a /tree and go back and branch off from the middle of my conversation where we were discussing tech stack and then start from there. So I'll start to discuss the simpler option and let that play out a bit. And when I run /tree again, I have two different points I can begin with within this single conversation. You can even run a /export to export an HTML of your session, trees included. So in my case, I can run a tsh beams scp to pull this file from my beam and can view it here. And check this out. The LLM did finish that dashboard I was building, and I can run tsh beams publish, and it will publish the app to be accessed through Teleport for the life of the beam. And notice what I skipped. No login page, no session handling, no access control to stand up. Teleport handles authentication and authorization of this internal app for you. Full TLS, nothing exposed publicly, and when the beam expires, the URL dies with it. Again, Beams is in beta, and Beams init isn't released yet as of this video, so I can just run this script, create beam pi.sh, and it does just that. So that's Pi. It's not for everyone. If Claude Code or Codex out the box work for you, stay there. They're great tools, and they don't ask you to assemble anything. Pi is for engineers who want to own their tooling. Engineers who'd rather build their own plan mode in 30 lines of TypeScript than learn somebody else's. And again, if you want to check out Beams, you can start a 14-day free trial of it at beams.run, or you can jump in their community Slack with questions. There's a Beams channel dedicated to just that. I'll put a link to that below. Have you tried Pi? What do you think? Let us know down below in the comments, and thank you for watching.